And it paused again. Lovely. I love it when it does that. Welcome to technical difficulties where nothing really wants to work right. That's fine. Whatever. We'll just pull that down, bring this up, and show you. And then it wants to play. No, absolutely not. And hey, everybody, we're back. It's another episode of AGP Podcast Meets the Creators. And of course, as always, I'm your host. I am Amanda, the owner-operator of AGP. And AGP is brought to you by their amazing sponsors, Hasm Productions, with their all ages comic, Peanut Pudded and Jelly, and their new Kickstarter that's out, which is Roadkill Rampage. It's funded. They're working on their stretch goals. You got to go check it out. To the Gem City Comic Con, to the Champion City Comic Con, to comic creator Mark Kidwell, known for Images 68, and of course to Sean Forney Illustration and their independent comic Scarlet Huntress and all the amazing work that they do. On that note, I'm bringing you guys somebody. I absolutely love this guy. He's been on the show many times back when the show was just an audio podcast. Now he gets to do a video with me. Yay! This is my boy. This is Austin. Hey, Austin, how's it going, man?
It is going great. I apologize because the other times I was on the podcast, it was just audio. So now everyone has to stare at my ugly mug. So I threw
but you're selling it with the taco hat, my man.
Yeah, just look here. This is all you need to see. You can look at the Green Lantern, and then you can look at the taco hat. And then
we got to get you an Austin Comics shirt so you can promote it like how I do with my AGP shirt. We got to get you one of those.
I used to have a beater pickup truck, like when I was right out of high school, and what I was gonna do is my friend was gonna help me. We were literally like gonna paint my website URL across the side of this truck, and because it was just it was like I was gonna drive it until it was dead, and it was almost dead. So we're like, whatever. And we also put like giant bull horns on it on like a tiny truck, and it looks stupid. I'm not mechanical, but one of my friends was. We never did do that, and I always wanted to. And it was funny because I think it was my mom was like, "You're not going to do that." She's like, "Let's get some magnets to put on the side." I'm like, "No, what's going to catch more eyes, magnets or crudely spray painted URLs on the side?"
Crudely spray painted because magnets people can still. So yeah, no. Funny thing that you say that because my dream, and this is part of my big dream because I go to shows. I manage 2 shows, or actually now I manage 4. So I manage 4 shows, plus I go to a bunch of shows. So I travel a lot normally during the weekends back when we had shows.
The time before.
the days before 2020. And one of my greatest dreams was to get like this rundown bus and spray paint it black with the AGP logo on it so I could just take the whole crew on the bus because there'd be plenty of room for us and all of our stuff. And I just thought that would be like the coolest thing ever, and set it up where like we could have the internet on the bus so we could actually play games as we travel to the shows, live streaming from the bus as we travel. I want to do that so bad someday.
It's like the mystery machine, because in like some of the newer ones, like they have a computer set up in the back, so and I'm like, how are you getting Wi-Fi? You're in the middle of Louisiana swamp, but they did. What's funny? So Charles Soule and Ryan Brown, when they did, I think they had this like an omnibus come out or hardcover of curse words. They got a white van, and they did a comic signing tour, and they drove. It was like a month, and they had a bunch of the artwork from the comic was put on the outside of the van from like vinyl stickers. And I was like, I would love to do that to promote a book. And they had like tour shirts, so you could only buy it at the comic, and then they had tour
awesome.
on a graphic novel. And then it was funny because then like once a week they would do like Facebook Lives answering questions. And one of the times they did it, it was like they were doing their laundry at a random laundromat because they're gone for so long. They don't, they need to do laundry. Think about that. They're like, oh, that's punk rock as hell. It's awesome.
Daddy, pay attention to me. I love animals. Who's that?
This is Bella, named after Bellamy from the 100.
Aww.
Yeah,
you had me scared there for a minute.
Oh, no. Yeah, no, not like. She was a rescue. She was actually found on the side of the road. She had been hit semi, and then was brought back to life. We have 4 cats, and they're all rescues. She likes me. No one in the world will ever like me as much as this cat does, and I'm totally cool with that.
I love the fact that you're like no one, and it's like, what about your wife?
No, I know what I said. I know what I said.
I have 2 dogs, 2 cats. You can actually see one of my dogs in the background.
Oh, it looks like a pillow, and then you're like, oh, nope, it's there.
No, that's my dog. That's Shigo. She's turning 17 this October.
Wow.
And then, oh, hi, puppy. And then this is my 4-year-old Chihuahua. Come here. Yaw. This is Fizzgig. And yes, when she opens her mouth, she's just like that thing from the Dark Crystal. She's definitely my baby. I can't believe she's 4 years old. If you go to my real page, I just posted her baby picture from 4 years ago. And sad little story, I got her and then I had to abandon her with my mom because I was heading off to RTX in Texas that year.
So you got her and then had to leave her with your mom.
Oh, look, Mommy, I got a puppy here. Watch it. I got to go 16 hours to Texas. Bye.
Oh, my God. When we moved into it, so like when we bought this house and moved in, we were living with my parents in my tiny room due to like circumstances. So it was me, my now wife, but we lived together in my tiny room, which was full of my comics and a twin bed. So I'm 6'4". I'm already way too big for a twin bed, and then add another person. We were very close, literally. I mean, all the time. But when we moved in and we adopted 2 cats, I wanted to take a video of letting them like out in the house. And so we have a video of when we first brought them home and opened up the pet taxi and let them come out. So, and it's like it makes me want to cry every time I watch it because
that's so adorbs. My 2 cats don't like to be on video too much. You may see Savick and I might have to yell at her because she likes to stand on one of my comic book racks I have in here.
As they do. They like to stand on the place they shouldn't be.
God, all of my comics are bagged and board, and I do mean all of my comics are bagged and board, which is a lot. Because if you look, that's 3 rows of comics there, and then behind me, 4 of those shelves are comics, and then underneath me is another 20 long boxes of comics.
I understand because I'm right there with you, so I get it.
And it's so funny because somebody was going through my comics, and they're like, "You have old cross-gen comics." Yes, I do.
Of course I do. What do you mean?
My friend Jay Layston, who worked for CrossGen, and my friend Greg Land, who worked for CrossGen, I was like, "Hey guys, check these out," and they're just like, "Where did you get that?" I'm a lot older than you all think. First off, okay, and second off, you're my friend, so you're gonna sign them for me anyway, just because I like having my friends sign my stuff.
I do that with like some of my friends that are pros. If I find their stuff in a quarter bin, I'll text them a picture of it. And like it's funny because it's like that sounds like I'm being like a jerk, but I dream for the day that I can find my stuff in a quarter bin. Like I will buy it. And then, so Phil Hester, who is my comic book dad, it's funny. They used to do, it was at Dollar Tree and like stores like that where it was 2 comics in a bag and it had like a trading card too.
I remember those.
He found one of his books in there, and so he bought it, and he keeps it in his studio on like his he's got a rack of them. So, and I'm like, I want to do that too. I want one that like where it's like got a bunch of markdown stickers.
Oh yeah, I have the Dollar General where I live actually started putting comic books in the old plastics, and it's like the 90s comics, and there's like 3 or 4 of them, and sometimes they'll have something at the bottom of them. But yeah, I remember those. Oh my gosh. Because I remember a lot of people's like, well, what comic book store did you go to when you were little? I didn't. I went to the magazine aisle in Kroger, and that's where I bought most of my comics. Because for some reason, no matter where I live, the nearest comic book shop's always an hour away from me.
I feel that. I'm in Iowa. The closest from me is 40 minutes.
It's like, could somebody just build a comic book shop here in Oxford, Ohio? I'd really appreciate it. I'll give you business. I can bring you creators to sign stuff. Give, want, need.
I feel you. I feel that. Well, like my dad. It's funny. Like my dad is 100% Farmer Joe. Like he was raised on a farm. He worked for John Deere. For those who don't know, that make tractors. It's like a big thing out here.
Those them green guys, right? They go read.
Nothing runs like a deer. Okay. I was like. But my dad, that's what my dad did. Is he farmed. He retired from John Deere. Now, He always has supported me. And it's funny because you would look at him and he looks like John Goodman's character from Roseanne. He only wears jeans and flannel. That's it, right? And he's got mustache, and I will morph into him. That's actually the life cycle of a Hamblin. But he would always drive me to the comic shop. And when I when I dabbled in comics, then when I got like really into them, it was the point where like there'd be like 2 times out of the month where a book would come out that I wanted on Wednesday, and my dad would have to drive me. So my dad would pick me up from school, and then we would go drive 40 minutes to go pick him up, and then I would read them on the way home. The ride home would be my dad listening to country music on the radio and me just glued. But of course, even though it was a 40-minute ride, I had also bought way more comics I could read in 40 minutes, and I still had plenty when I got home. But it's funny just because like I don't know where my like creative stuff came from or like my love for this. My dad and I connect over 2 things: is Star Trek and professional wrestling, and that's our crossover. Is that my dad grew up loving wrestling and Star Trek, and then when I got to like probably 8 years old, I got into wrestling, and then when I got into high school, I got into Star Trek, and those are the 2 things that we like connect on the nerdy side of things with. So.
My dad and I, it's Star Trek. I don't know if you remember, my name's Amanda, so.
Okay. Yeah, I get that.
If you don't know, it's right there on the screen. No. But everybody goes, Amanda. God, that's such. It's like, okay, I realized a lot of people were named Amanda at the time, but my story's a little different because my dad was sure I was going to be a boy, and the name James Tiberius Kirk was going to be my name. I'm like,
was it really?
Yes, it was. I was supposed to be James Tiberius Kirk Gilliam.
So, about 2 hours south from where I live is Riverside, Iowa, the future, and I haven't ever gone, which I feel so bad about. But there is it's not like a statue, but there's a monument on the ground that says Riverside, Iowa, the future birthplace of James Tiberius Kirk, and that has the date, which I can't remember what the date is off the top of my head, they have a convention there.
It's wrong because I was born in Cincinnati. They were almost wrong. I came out a girl. They got lucky. And it's just funny because I'm the one few member of my family that wasn't named after somebody within my family. Like all of my cousins and my sister, they're all named after somebody within the family, and I wasn't. And my dad agreed with the name Amanda. He liked it, and he went, "Oh, that's Spock's mother's name." Okay, well, I gotta look at the bright side. I got Amanda because when I think back at it, I could have been named Harura, so.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of worse names you could. Or he could have just been like, I don't care that she's a girl. Her first name is Chekhov.
I would have taken Savick, which is what I named one of my cats after.
That's awesome.
Say what you want. Christy Alley was hot as all could get at as Lieutenant Savick.
Oh. You're right. There's no arguments there for me.
There's no arguments there. Yeah, my 2 cats, of course, the black one's named Lord Vader. And my cat that suffers from dwarfism is named Lieutenant Savick. So she's got the body of a full-size adult cat, but she still has her kitten tail, head, and feet. She's so adorbs. She really is.
Adorable.
Oh, so fantastic. I love my kids. They're my babies. And I see you love yours. Bella's like, I am going to make this the greatest podcast ever because everybody loves cats. Everybody loves cats.
She's taking advantage. Well, so like our cats sleep with us, which is awesome. Except for this little girl will just like sit on your face at 3 a.m. until you start petting her. I'm like, all right, I gotta lock you out. Like, and it's not the first time. So I have sleep apnea, and I had to start using a CPAP, and I didn't know how cats would react to it or if they'd mess with it. So we would shut the door, and it was the first time they'd ever had us shut the door when we go to bed. And one time, this was the first night, I wake up because I'm like, somebody pounding on the door. It was one of my cats ramming herself into the door to get in because she wanted in. She was because it makes some noise, and it's a weird noise. So I wake up and I'm like, what the heck? And I open the door, and then the cat's on the door, meow, meow.
Yeah.
I get on top of my wife, and my wife was like, what the hell is going on? And I'm like, apparently Phoebe was really worried about us.
Well, it's like when I have friends over, I live alone, so I do not shut my bathroom door when I go to the bathroom.
Right.
I live alone. There's no point in it. So when friends come over and the bathroom door closes, all the animals rush. What's going on in there? What's going on? Hey, hello! And everybody's like, why are they obsessed? Because they don't know what a shut door is. Every door in my house is always, and I do mean always, open. So they have access to the entire house. Which is funny because I have this wonderful bedroom and this lovely queen size bed. I sleep there.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not your bed though.
I sleep here with my 2 dogs and my 2 cats because I'm always working in the office, and half of the time I fall asleep like in one of these positions on the couch, and then I wake up and I go, oh, my back, oh no. It's just the funniest thing, but it's just funny watching people go, why are they obsessed with the door? Because you closed it. It's that simple. If you've ever had an animal, whatever door you close, that's the room they want in. And especially if it's a room that you're leaving scents in, because they want their scent also in a room that you're in. You know, that's why my animals don't spend a lot of time in the living room or the dining room, because I don't spend a lot of time in there. They spend most of their time in here rubbing on everything, and it's like, guys, stop. Just stop. And they get so excited when I do go to the bedroom, because that's where I do the arts and crafts stuff.
They want in all that stuff.
So, yeah. What was I making? I'm helping my mom with this Christmas project, and I was cutting these strings, and Savick kept trying to go, I has now. No, you cannot has. Give back. People don't want cat hair in their products. Stop it. Just knock it off. You abomination, you. It's funny watching cats. Oh, you're not paying attention to me? Dunk. Did you pay attention to that? I made a noise.
This is just rubbing back and forth on me. It's just the one room in our house that we have closed off is the library, and I didn't used to close it off. But what happened was when we got another cat, Toby, he does not like older books. So you know how older books kind of have a smell to them?
Yeah.
I don't know what about it, but so one morning it's like I come downstairs and we'd leave the door open. What the heck? They were all, he didn't wreck anything, but they were all like, he got them off the shelves and they were on there. And I'm like, okay, guess we're going to have to start shutting this. Cause like it's anything that's like on the old paper, like
that dusty musk smell that's not overpowering, but it's there. You get, when you walk in, you can smell it, of like grandparents' house.
The one things that he had attacked is I have the Savage Dragon archive editions, which they're in black and white and they're on like newsprint, right? And I have 2 volumes though, so they're thick, right? So they obviously.
Oh yeah.
I think there's 25 issues each in it, and yeah, he did not like those, or like my old Mad magazine books, like they did. He didn't like those, or some of my.
I'm so glad I'm not the only one who still has all their Mad magazines.
Oh no, I find it's funny. My uncle, he's also Farmer Joe too. He's my dad's brother. He would go to auctions and he buys and resells tools. Like that's what he did when he retired, and he would buy just like crates full of random stuff because he'd go to estate sales and he'd end up with books, and he'd always end up with these Mad magazine collections. And that's how I got started reading Mad. I didn't know that it was a magazine. I knew Mad, and I knew that these books were like little funny comics. And
right.
We get them and they give them to me. And it's funny because now I go to conventions and they can't even give those things away. They'll sell them for like $1, and I'm like, cool, what do we got? Which ones don't I have?
I love going through those 50-cent, 25-cent dollar bins, because it's like, what don't I have in my collection? And it's funny because like people memorize like the stories and who's the writer and the artist and stuff like that. And I see these people and they have like this list, and I'll be going through it and they're like, well, what are you looking for? I'm like, I'm looking for this issue. And they're like, well, what's your list? I was like, I'll know it when I see it. They're like, how do you know? I memorize the covers of all my comics. So I just have to look at the cover, and I don't have to look at the number or anything like that. I just need the cover, and I can be like, oh, yay. And the greatest day of my life was when I finally got the entire Marvel run of the G.I. Joe collection.
Oh, nice. That is a good score.
And I'm talking original. I do have all the special missions and I have all the yearbooks. I didn't really care for the G.I. Joe Extreme.
Well, you can't really count that.
But yeah, the original 151 original Marvel G.I. Joe comics, yeah, that made my entire life. Because that's what got me into comics is my parents. I don't read, which is funny because I have a bookshelf of books. I ain't read maybe like 3 of them. I don't like reading. It's a process of sitting down. And I have ADHD and I can't do that. I have to have the flashing and I have to have the movement.
Oh,
and
perfect, the cartoon, because I mean,
yeah, cartoons, YouTube videos, watching people play video games. I can sit and watch that all day because of all the fast movements. It keeps my attention. It grabs, reading words. Words. It's all words. But comics had pictures. So even though it was still movement, there was different action sequences and my brain could see the movement through the panels. So it caught my attention, and that's how my parents got me to start reading.
That's awesome. I'm glad you did that, because some parents were, especially probably back then, were like reluctant to do that because it's not really reading. That was like a mentality.
I think my parents figured out that I was going to be different from everybody else real quickly. Like, what was one of the dumbest things you did as a kid, especially when your parents... Okay, so as a kid, when it came around Christmas time, it was time to clean out the old toys so you could get new toys. How did you handle that?
Oh, so actually, this is funny because I didn't really have to deal with that. So my dad's side of the family, they are very much hoarders. My mom is not. But my mom knew that I had an affinity and love for toys and comics more than, like it's a phase. Or like she knew, or like I'm Pokemon and whatever. So she never told me I needed to get rid of my toys. If I wanted to, I could. There was one point where it was probably when I was like 13. Like when I first started to be like, oh, like I'm interested in girls. And I'm like, girls don't like toys. There's not going to be a girl that's going to be like, oh, you have Hal Jordan and John Stewart Green Lantern figures?
Oh, yeah. Girls don't like toys, guys.
Right. And so I was like, I sold a bunch of toys. And my mom was like, you shouldn't do this. You're gonna regret this. And she was 100% right to this day. And I've gone back and I bought a lot of the toys that I did have. But
toys!
The things that I regret selling, because there's some things that I can't afford to buy. So my older siblings were into Power Rangers as well. And so technically the toys I got for Power Rangers were hand-me-downs, but they were awesome condition. I had all the Megazords, all of them. And then you want to look up what those go for now, loose, because I just want to lose. It is, yeah. And I just like, it's like, okay, I want to see if I could rebuy them. And I'm like, maybe if I get rich, I'll buy them. But oh no. Oh.
I don't know if you can see it, but see the curtains?
Mm-hmm.
Those are vintage Voltron curtains.
That's awesome.
The blue lion's up there.
Oh, I see now. Yeah.
And if you look up, that is, come on, New Age plus the original He-Mans.
Oh, that's great.
Transformers and G.I. Joes.
That's fantastic. And
in my living room is where my Silverhawks are.
Sweet.
And you want to talk about something that goes for a lot of money nowadays. Silverhawks and Gem and the Holograms. See, I did something quite inventive because I did have to live through, because, I have such a huge family. My grandparents had 5 kids. Each of those 5 kids had 2 to 4 kids each. So yeah, we're huge. And when you have, 5 aunts and uncles and your grandparents and your parents, and that's just on my dad's side of the family, not to mention my mom's side of the family. And my mom had 5 brothers and her. So there's another 5 aunts and uncles that I have on that side of the family and 2 more grandparents. That's a lot of toys come Christmas. And so my mom would be like, oh, you got to get rid of all of this stuff. And so I punched a hole in the wall. and I hid all of my He-Man and G.I. Joes, and I let my mom take all the Barbies and the tea sets and all the crappy stuff that I never played with.
That's all.
You ain't touching those. Don't touch my Mask figures. Don't touch my G.I. Joes. Don't touch my Thundercats. Don't you do it.
That is horrible.
Everything else you could take.
I want you to know that, okay? That is all.
That's and my mom eventually found it, and she's just like, it's like, mine. No. My mom's like, there's something wrong with your daughter. There's something seriously wrong with your daughter. Because don't you love it when your parent looks at you? You automatically lose that parent, and you become only the other parent's child.
Oh yeah, the ball has been passed many times.
No, that's yours. I don't know what that is, but that's yours. And speaking of stuff that is yours, you have a Kickstarter up and running.
Yeah, I do. I have a weird Kickstarter running because
it's you. If the word weird wasn't attached to it, I'd be very upset.
Yeah. What? What I want to do is I want to write comics professionally, but the irony is the book that I'm kickstarting is like a book of short prose stories, some nonfiction, some fiction. I kind of got it, comics and any creative endeavor can get discouraging, right? And I was like, if I'm not gonna make any money writing stuff, why don't I just write some shit that I want to write? Or why don't I just write the stuff that I want to write? So I started this Word document on Google Docs, and I just called it What I Want. And I just wrote about whatever I wanted to. Sometimes it was a short story. Sometimes it was like something I had to get out of my head, or a riddle, or like when one of my family members died that I was really close with, I wanted to write about him because I was like, oh, that's actually the first story in this. I wrote tried to write the cheesiest porno script imaginable. That's called what is it called? I don't even remember now. But it's all pizza delivery porno. I just wanted to write it. I don't know why. And sometimes I just wrote like about pro wrestlers or comics I enjoyed and why I enjoyed them. And I want to write a book someday. And I don't necessarily want to pursue a career as a novelist, but I want to prove to myself that I can do it. And the way that I started making comics was you write short comics. You write 3 to 5 pages, and you build your way up, and you learn as you go. And that's what this is Odds and Ends is my learning to eventually write a novel. So, but I'm a big believer. Like, there's a lot of good stuff in there, and I believe I don't think anything should go to waste. I always hate when people are like, "Yeah, I wrote this book, but I think it's trash, and I'm not going to release it." And I'm like, why don't you just maybe edit it to make it because I'm sure it's not trash,
Right. I mean, you took your time, you put some passion into it. There's got to be something in there, or else you wouldn't have written it in the first place.
Right. You would have stopped. You'd have been like, this isn't working. Right. And so this is, I was pretty excited. I had my friend Trey Baldwin draw the cover, and the cover is me in a junk drawer. Like a small version of me in a junk drawer with just other stuff.
Look, it's the Austin action figure.
And this is something that I'm going to keep doing. And the reason I had to do the Kickstarter was basically I just needed money to pay my editors for grammar and all that stuff. And it's already funded. And I think I've got like 9 days left. And I've been self-publishing since 2012. So it's a very low risk thing because I know what I'm as soon as it gets done, I know what I need to do, and I'm going to use the printers that I've used before and everything. And I'm just really excited to be able to hold this in my hands, and it does feel good, and the other part too is there was a period in comics where a lot of the projects I was working on, they just kept falling through. Maybe an artist would disappear on me, or something would come up in their life that was totally understandable, but they're like, I got to step away, and I get it. So doing this, it's something that I could be in control of, and all it the only thing that would stop it from getting written or getting made was me. And so it kind of gives the power back to you. And then me just being like, I'm going to write about whatever I feel like writing about, made it fun. I got excited to be like, hey, I have this dumb idea about a girl with a growth on her neck that ends up hatching out into an alien egg. There's a story where she's got this growth, and people were just obsessed with the growth. And then an alien hatches out of it. And
you better not make her look like me. I will punch you right upside your taco head.
But it was just a stupid, weird story. And then so then she wakes up basically not in like an FBI-esque hospital being interviewed. And she's like, I don't know why I had a growth or why an alien hatched out of it. And then just weird stuff like that, And I think a lot of it too is I think some of the stuff that I wrote short stories on will definitely be comics someday. But I don't think I would have discovered them had I not tried writing prose. And I think Phil Hester has always told me, so he went to school for art, right? And he goes, I don't necessarily think that going to art school made me a better cartoonist, but it made me a better artist, and it made me look at things differently, which in turn did make me a better cartoonist. And I think that writing other forms of things besides comics can help me learn. I journal every day, partially because it helps me sleep at night. I mean, actually, mostly it's because it's to help me unwind and get through my mental health stuff.
He journals, I drink.
Right? Tomato, and I realized that I'm when I write comics, I really like to do inner monologues and stuff. And then I'm literally every night, I'm basically writing an inner monologue, in this journal. And I've been journaling for 6 years. I'm on my 6th journal right now. And I always say when I die to burn them, because I don't want to do. Or actually, this is a weird thing. I have this half the time I think I'm gonna never amount to anything, and the other half I think I'm gonna be this big fantastical thing. You are
fantastical.
I know, it's just the split that I have. But what would be cool is if so when Harvey Picar, when he passed away, his wife sold these dolls that were made from his clothing, and they were little plushies that were from clothing that he wore, and they were little Harvey Picar dolls, and they made them for charity and stuff. And I can't even afford to buy one, but they're cool, I thought. Weird? Is that weird to you?
No, that's creepy. Hey, now I have his spirit in my house. Hell no! I've watched way too many Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunters, and done my own ghost investigating. Hell's to the no. Oh, it's okay. It has some of his hair and clothes. And no, and ew, and no. No.
I thought it was cool.
It's cool, but not in my house it isn't.
I always was it'd be cool if I ever did amount to be a big name writer. It would be pretty cool to do to auction off all my journals for charity. If I actually had fans like that or did something monumental, that would be cool. I would love to own journals from an author that I also keep. So I always say I keep all my spare pairs of glasses, in case they break. I told my wife.
By the way, say hi to Cassie. She says hi. She's on the 275 loop near my house, so she's almost home. I know exactly. If you haven't met Cassie, Cassie is actually my right hand. She's my secretary, and she handles my tables at shows. So
all I can think of now is the Addams Family. And I'm I actually haven't. Yeah, I was I haven't seen you lift your hand, so maybe it's actually gone.
No, I have my hands.
Okay,
they're good.
All right. Metaphorical. Okay.
But no, I love the fact that you kept writing. A lot of people will always ask. It was perfect timing for me to have something to entertain me on the road. We're entertaining.
I think it helps.
But no, I hear a lot of people always ask a lot of creators, no matter what the industry is, whether it's writing or drawing or podcasting or let's plays or whatever it is. I want to get better. How do I get better? Just keep at it. Just keep doing what you're doing. If you want to be a writer, write something every day. You want to be a podcaster, record something every day. Whether you release it or not isn't really the point. It's do it. Throw your passion and throw. I'm the type of person that no matter what I'm doing, I record it. And I probably will live stream it because there's no such thing as, oops, that wasn't entertainment. Oh, it was entertainment. It was bad, but it was entertainment.
Something.
I mean, what do they say? No publicity is bad publicity.
It's what you said. It's literally my. This is a quote that like it applies to creative careers so much, but it applies to life so much.
Mm-hmm.
It's a marathon, not a race. Like, what can you do today? Like, obviously, I can't write a script for Ghost Rider today, and tomorrow it'll be released by Marvel, right? Like, that's not how that works. Even
No.
but I can write something today that will make me a better writer. That maybe in the future I could get an opportunity writing Ghost Rider.
Right.
And you have to look like what thing can I do today, no matter how small it be, will take me closer. And like there's that Martin Luther King quote where it's like, if you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. All that matters is you keep moving forward.
If you can't crawl, have somebody drag you with a rope. Whee! No. Like Indiana Jones style. Okay, I'm ready. Whee!
Do it.
But by the way, I have to do this. Now I see why you're wearing the taco hat.
Why? Because of my hair?
Wow, that's some hair, my friend.
That, you know what's funny? I'll take my hat off now. So I shaved my head a while. So like right when everything was started shutting down, I needed a haircut, and so I just shaved my head. And now my hair has grown back super thin. So I was once told that the true testament of a man is how he deals with hair loss. So I'm just gonna keep short hair forever, or cut all my hair off and tattoo hair on.
Yeah, there's nothing weird about you. Tattoo my hair on. I'm sorry. I'm just picturing, and you probably haven't seen this. This is a very low-key British film called Blow Dry that had Alan Rickman and Josh Hartnett in it. And there's this, and Alan Rickman plays a hairdresser, by the way, that has scissors tattooed on the bottom of his foot. I'm just going to put that out there. It's a great British comedy. It really is. So if you like British comedy, it's fantastic. It really is. And he's a hairdresser, and they're in this competition, and he looks at the girl and he goes, "Do you still have that tattoo on your head?" And she's like, "Yeah." And he just starts shaving her head off, and he's going to use the tattoo and the hairstyle. That's all I could think of when you said that.
Oh my. The one time when I was a kid, and one of my friend's dad, like my best friend when I was a kid's dad, he took us to like a barber shop, right? Like a man's barber shop, like the guy's cutting my hair, and he goes, "Do you have a mole on your head?" And I'm like, "I don't think so." And he goes, "Well, you don't anymore." And my head, it was apparently I had like a mole good size, and he just cut it straight off when he was like doing whatever. I didn't feel it, but he just saw that my head was bleeding profusely and found a mole on the floor that came off my head.
Oh my God. By the way, Cassie goes, "I'm just imagining the tattoo artist receiving that request. Yes, can you tattoo my hair on, please?"
Sure. Like, you have the money up front, right?
Like, I'll do it. Just give me the money first. And here, sign this that you're not going to sue me when it's done and over with.
Have you ever seen someone with a head tattoo before in person?
No, I actually haven't.
I have. We were at a buffet, and it was funny because this guy was there with his I'm going to assume his wife or significant other, and their child was with him, who he was probably 6 years old. The guy on both sides of his head, his head was shaved bald. He had giant demon horns on both sides of his head, and I'm like, that's got to be confusing for a 6-year-old. You know what I mean? Like, dad has that tattooed on his head. Obviously, he was of like a metal, like he looked like he was like a big metal fan or whatever, and it's probably why he did it. But like, how do you explain that to your kid? And then how to, like, when they make bad decisions later on, anything that you say to them, they're gonna be like, "You have horns tattooed on your head." Like, you can't say anything to them. They'll just respond with that every time, and it never gets old. Like,
for me, it's just the thought of, okay, we went from making designs in the back of our head with the hair back in like the 80s and 90s to now we're just going to shave it off and tattoo stuff on it.
Do you know how much that would hurt?
Oh my God, favorite head tattoo for balding men is the lawnmower.
That's awesome. I've never seen that. I'm going to have to look that up.
That is so funny. Well, you were talking a little bit about, how this is like a bunch of little short stories. Just to give people an idea of what's going on in here. I've got to find it. Where is it? He has 120 pages of content, which are John Cena. Okay. zombie penguins. Penguins are evil. No, they're evil enough, and they smell enough. Now they're gonna smell like fishy zombie. What is the matter with you, Austin?
The first collection of short comics I put out, there was a short in it called Attack of the Zombie Penguins, and that is like the one that everyone liked the best. Like, I don't think that was the best story in that collection of shorts, but that was the one that everybody wanted more of because it was just like this crazy idea. And like this comic had come out before the Walking Dead TV show, but obviously the comic was coming out. But I had a lot of non-comic fans reading this because it was just people that I knew. And they thought it was like $1 million idea. And I'm like, you thought that was $1 million? Like, it's funny, but it ain't no $1 million idea.
You never know. You never know. Next thing you know, it's on Adult Swim for all you know.
Right.
Sending nudes.
Yes, I remember sending nudes. Pretty cool.
Journals, captain's log. Man, if I see a Captain Kirk in a bathroom, I'm going to slap you in that story. I'm just letting you know this.
Ooh, nothing like that.
Rebuilding the Animal Master. Oh, that's me.
Well, it's a Pokemon parody, except for instead of Pokemon, it's actually animals, like real life animals.
It's still me. I worked at a zoo. That's mine. That's mine. It's me. And no, that's actually quite cool. Especially for someone like me. I'm a huge Pokemon fan. Right before you got on, I was playing Pokemon Go.
I was playing the trading card game online before I got on too, actually.
I'm gonna catch them all. I will be the best there ever was. I promise you. Even though if Pokemon was real and I set off on my journey at 10, oh, what a world. Oh, good, you're 10. Bye.
I love all things Pokemon, but that's the one thing I'm like, man, 10-year-old me would have got killed by a Beedrill on day 1, hour 2.
Well, guess what? Ash would have if it wasn't for Pikachu, so...
That is true.
But then again, the difference between you and me and Ash is Ash didn't really look into his stuff, and you and I have been like, Beedrills are that way.
He's the only character that could effectively live in a world for 10 years and know absolutely nothing about the world around him.
And be late for everything. But I would love that scenario. I'm 10 years old. I am an adult. I am going out to catch dangerous animals, which, seems like an interesting form of population control. Maybe that's why they did it.
They just hated children.
To me, it just sounds like exciting. One, I think I would have survived because of all the learning when I was little with the camping trips and learning how to make fishing poles and bows and arrows from the stuff that's in the woods and things for my family. I think that would be, I think I survived, but I just find it hilarious because a lot of people that I know who like Pokemon have only seen the series. It's like, you haven't read the cards about how Sharpedos were like sharks in today's day and age where they were killing them for Sharpedo fin soup.
Yep.
Or that there are animals that eat other animals in the Pokemon realm, and there's been Pokemon who have killed humans, and it's like, it happens. It's not, hey, I threw a Pokeball at it, we're good. No.
Have you ever read any of the manga at all for it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's some pretty dark stuff in the Pokemon Adventures manga.
Oh God, yes, there is.
Which is why I love it. But yeah, no, it's there's so much. The nice thing about it is like there's so much to consume. Like if you like it, there's so many, like between games and lore. So like my nieces, I have 3 nieces, and they're like all at that age where they're like, well, we don't like Uncle Austin, like they're just how kids are. Now my mom told them after Detective Pikachu came out, they loved Pokemon, and they're like, now Uncle Austin has the 4 times more Pokemon cards than you will ever own, and he's got all of the toys and all of this, and all of a sudden they started caring about what Uncle Austin had to say a little more. A lot more.
Hi, can I have this and this, please? I'm a fire trainer.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, people are like, but you were already grown when Pokemon came out. Yes, but I still watched cartoons, and Pokemon grabbed me instantly. And I played the games, and I have the trading cards, and over 20 years. So I mean, because think about it, it's been 20 years. So
Yeah.
Ash would be like in his 30s now, but he's still 10 with a new series that just came out on Netflix.
It's good. I watched it already.
Oh, dude. Yes. Okay. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's spoiler time if you haven't seen Pokemon Journeys. How cute was it watching Pichu become Pikachu?
Oh my god, being in like the Kangaskhan's pouch, I was like, oh, this is.
Aww. At first I'm like, oh, they're just retconning everything. And it was really cool that, no, they just showed you where Pikachu came from, rehashed real quickly Ash's beginning, and then you find out, no, this actually takes place after the Alolan series, Sun and Moon. And watching, because it wasn't until like, what, the 4th or 5th episode, Ash started mentioning his past journeys.
Yeah. And,
like the Ho-Oh episode where he's like, no, I saw that on my first journey out. It's like, oh, okay, we're not remaking it. We're just setting a new, okay, cool. Because I was really worried with Netflix taking it over.
It was a lot of fun. Like, and the thing is like fun. And I really liked Go as a character because then you have the aspect of, oh, this guy wants to catch everything. So like where you can have a character that's catching anything he can, but then you have like Ash who's more choosy about who's in his party. It's a nice contrast.
It really is. Because we had Brock and Misty. They were both Pokemon trainers. They were kind of on the same thing as Ash, except for they were gym leaders. And then as you go, you have. And I think like the closest one was, people who were like, oh, I just want to study or get every picture of them. But to actually have someone who wants to catch them all and seeing them go, no, I got a Weedle, and then, going through the whole evolutionary chain and watching him come to terms with Mew didn't have to be his first Pokemon that he caught. I do like the character. I like that it's, and it is funny because because if you pay attention the way how he goes, the best way to catch a Pokemon is with a curveball. Yeah. They are taking aspects from the Pokemon Go series, so he's like us playing Pokemon Go being in this animated series.
Nope. They've combined. Yeah, no, I said the same thing, and it's cool because he doesn't feel like a side character. He feels like a co-main character with Ash, which I know some people might not like that because it's supposed to be about Ash, but it makes me care about him more, and it's more depth.
Ash, but we've always followed every companion he's had. I'll call him companions, even though he's not Doctor Who, even though he's still 10 and he hasn't aged any.
Maybe he is.
I'm just saying. We've always seen, his side characters, his companions grow. What was it? The XY series, and watching Serena grow into her own with Eevee and things like, we've watched all these other characters grow. This is no different. It's just, for once, it's just him and another character. I'm sure the female character, what's her name, Chloe, will come into the series more, especially since I found out what one of the new Pokemon Ash is getting, because I kind of watched something on YouTube and I found out that he's getting a really cool Pokemon.
I saw that by accident, and I was mad that I saw it, but I'm still like, ooh.
But I really want to watch it. We're talking about the same guy, right?
I don't know. I'm gonna scare.
Say your Pokemon.
Gengar.
Yes.
Yeah, and I love Gengar.
So and I'm really interested, and I know I'm gonna cry because it kind of has like the same backstory as Charmander did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and I'm sorry, I could still watch that Charmander episode, and it just tugs at my heartstrings every time.
It is. The only animated thing that's more sad than the Charmander episode is the episode of Futurama about Fry's Dawn. That's the only one.
Have you watched the Alolan series Sun and Moon?
Yeah.
Okay. No. Poor when we finally see the first Pokemon die.
Yeah, that was that. I didn't think that was gonna be like something that they would do. Yeah, that was.
Oh my god. Oh. I was, and you know, there's something to be said about a series that's run 20 years and can still give you these emotions. Like when you're watching Sun and Moon and Misty and Brock show back up, you're just like,
when they go to Kanto, I was like, oh yes.
Oh, when they come to Alola and Brock actually has a connection with Olivia and they make the heart rock, and I'm like, oh, Brock's finally found a woman. Thank God.
I thought it was cool too that they had him do gym battles. So and it, like do the Mega Evolution versus the Z move. So and it was cool to see that Brock now, because didn't he have a Steelix, right? And now, yeah. So then we got the Mega Evolved Steelix, and then obviously Misty got to have a Gyarados.
She got her Gyarados, yes.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was like that episode was fan service done the perfect way.
Right, not like Han Solo, a Star Wars story where it's shoved down your throat and you can. Right. And you just, for some reason, you just can't puke it back up. It's stuck in there.
If I would have been a kid right now and I would have watched that episode, like having, say, I just started watching Sun and Moon and I hadn't seen anything else, I still would have enjoyed that episode, you know? And that's how you know that it worked, is that someone who doesn't know anything about these other characters could still enjoy it.
Right. And of course, you know, doing that, and if they just started there, it'd be like Mega Evolution. They're going straight and going. Mega Evolution was introduced in. I gotta watch that series.
I gotta find.
I gotta check this out. It's really cool. I just love it, and yeah, I've read the manga because spoilers: Jesse and James do have a daughter in the manga.
Is that in the? That must be in the other one that I haven't read then, because I've read the main Pokemon Adventures.
What is it? Hold on.
Horizons, which is the Sun and Moon one. And there's another one, but I can't remember what it's called. And I think that's the one that you're talking about. The one that it's kind of like Ash, but it's not. Where he's like got a pharaoh. And is that the one that you've read?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I haven't read that one. I know what happens, but I haven't. Yeah, okay.
But yeah, yeah, I think it's the Electric Tales of Pikachu.
That's it. Yep.
And yeah, it's Jesse and James, and and their daughter is just to die for. What is her? I can't remember her name. Sunny.
In the Pokemon Adventures manga, Koga has a daughter that becomes the main character in like the second, the second box set, because they do them by like they sell them like box sets where it's like this is red and blue or whatever, and then this is gold and silver, but then once you get to the fourth box set, it's leaf green and violet. Yeah, that was how the release of the games were.
It's really weird because you have like the series of the games, you have the animated series, you have the manga, you know, and you unless you're really paying attention to all, you just kind of have to go with it.
Yeah. Because
sometimes they overlap each other, something doesn't feel right, but again, props to a show that was supposed to end at the end of Indigo League with Ash ending up with Misty. And everything ended up being so popular that 20 years later, here we are still going, we love Pokemon! We're playing Pokemon games on our phones. We have, you know, people are buying Switches to play the new Pokemon game. People are still buying the merchandise. That has to say a lot. I mean, it really does.
Have you seen, like, the videos of, like, the Pokemon centers in Japan?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my gosh. Like, that's, like, me and my wife. So... I'll have to send you these pictures. I don't have them right on hand, but for my wife is big into Pokemon as well. I commissioned for Christmas one year her with her 6 favorite Pokemon, and my friend drew it. And then a year later, because it's a friend that she knows him as well, and he's into Pokemon as well, so it wasn't like a weird request. She did the same for me. She found my Oh man, that comment.
I ain't even rereading it. Y'all can read it right down the screen.
That's amazing.
That's great.
She got that for me. She had commissioned him to do a colored illustration of me with my 6 favorite Pokemon, and they're both hanging next to each other in the living room. And it's just kind of.
Who are your 6 favorite?
So, Gengar, Muck, Hawlucha, Ludicolo, Scizor, and Machoke. Very weird. I think I said, it's funny because I think in the picture instead I totally blanked on Hawlucha, so I got Crobat.
Jigglypuff, Jigglypuff. Obviously, like I said, I'm a fire Pokemon first, dark Pokemon second. Like, yeah, I do have my babies, but I would give up my poor little fire Pokemon for an Umbreon. I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Umbreon's design is so cool. It's so sleek.
There are, like, if you take my main 6, obviously, I like Eevee, and I love any of Eevee's evolutions. Obviously, Umbreon would be the one that I would go for. So I just put Eevee down because Eevee gives me the opportunity to have any of its evolutions. Fennec, I love Fennec. Fennec is just a fantastic Pokemon. Again, I know it's fire. When it comes to classic, it has to be Charizard, man. That's my dude. That's my dude. I would love the opportunity to properly train a Charizard because we know they could be temperamental. And let's see which one, me or Charizard's more pig-headed. Let's go. I mean, let's do this. I really want this opportunity to try it. I really like Lycanroc.
Lycanroc. I do like Lycanroc too.
I love Lycanroc. I think Lycanroc is fantastic.
Lycanroc has 2 forms, right?
Lycanroc now has 3.
Oh, there's 3.
Remember, in Alola, Ash got the Dusk form.
Right. And then there's
so you have the Night form, the Day form, and the Dusk form.
Oh,
and Ash's is the one of a kind. And I have to say, I like so I love the Night form, the dark form of it. I think it's really cool how it constantly stands on 2 legs. But there's just something about the Day and the Dusk one when they're on all 4s that I still like, because it's like, oh, you still a puppy rock, Ruff. I mean, Lycanroc. And then, yeah, it's just one of those things. And then, like, there are some really cool Pokemon out there, but I'm like, I don't like the look of it. There's just something about, I want cute and dangerous. I really do. I like cute and dangerous. Mimikyu would be another one that I would have to pick.
Mimikyu is a goat. Because, the design and the backstory is, it's perfect.
And then, another, of course, I do like Vulpix, but I also like, Minico. Do you know who Minico is? It looks like a sugar glider.
Oh, yes. I know what you're talking about, yes.
It was introduced in Generation 5. It evolves into Cynico. It has the colors of one, but I think Emolga looks a lot like one too. So, but I don't know. There's just something about those, and it's funny because I play this game called Ark Survival, and any cute dinosaurs I catch, I name them after Pokemon.
That's all right. That's fair.
So, welcome to my Pokemon dinosaur villa. Ugh.
That's cool.
Sorry, I think I drank that too much. I love how we went on this tangent after I read the Animal Master.
We went to Pokemon. It's easy to do.
I love the fact that you and I have so much in common. And the first time that you came on the show, of course, I was nervous because I hadn't met you yet. And we instantly clicked, and that's always fun. Now, I not only do you have all of these stories in there, but you also take on this realm of kind of like answering your own kind of question. What if God is dead? And I'm going to let people figure that out on their own. I don't want any explanation. I kind of want people to go ahead, back the Kickstarter, and read what you have to say about that. I think that's kind of cool, especially since that's the title. What if I had a television network? We call it Taco Hat Nation.
Be like Mr. Monopoly, but with a Green Lantern shirt and a taco hat.
What's marriage like in the afterlife? It's haunting. But I'm here all week. Yay! Yay! And of course, I like the fact that you said that you pull no punches, and this is definitely not for children or the faint of heart.
Yeah, I don't. I think you have this trait as well. I'm always 100% unapologetically myself. So that's how I am in this writing, and so it's funny because a lot of people say that like my pro stuff, like when I'm writing, the love of hell, right? God damn it. This skull. That's great.
This is why I love the show. This is why I love the show.
I don't remember what I was talking about. That was hilarious.
Something about not pulling your punches, not biting your tongue.
Yeah, people say that like my pro stuff, at least when I'm talking like about real things, they're like, it doesn't feel so much like I'm reading you telling me something. Like it feels like you're talking to me. They say I write conversationally. I think that's why I like comics, because like in comics I can write the way that people talk, because when I'm writing the dialogue, because obviously the way people speak and the grammatically correct way or like the actual English way is not the way that we speak. Nobody talks how they're supposed to. So sometimes when novels are written that way, it bugs me. And so then I don't know.
I think it's funny because I realize that I have like these different types of quirks when I'm talking, and I have a tendency to come up with odd words that people are like, I'm sorry, what did you say? And it's something that I always try to explain to people. One of the reasons why I love doing what I do, and the reason why I like doing it live, is because what you see with me is what you get. When I'm writing something, there's no filter from here to here. Absolutely not. But from here to here, everything turns into prim and proper. It's like, and it's just one of those things. It's like, instead of going me and Cassandra, it's when I write it, it's Cassandra and I. It has to be Cassandra and I. I cannot write it down and send it out that way. I could say it and go, I meant Cassandra and I. Oops, my bad.
I think that I get that 100%. Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah. So it's funny because like there used to be like at the library. I used to work at the library in my town, and I had a creative writing meetup there. So three people showed up. One is she is a novelist, mostly of like Christian literature and stuff like that. The other one was a biology professor at a college, and it was funny because like after it, I'm like, I feel like we all write, and we all do, but they write the proper way, and I write the way that I don't know if I want to say that like I feel is. I don't want to say that I think it's better. I enjoy it more because I feel like it's more the way people are,
I think the way to announce this is you just feel more comfortable writing in what you feel is normal everyday talk. Yeah. Me, I can't do it. It drives me absolutely batshit crazy to not have proper grammar in my writing. It will drive me. I have no problem going, what was that? Just go with it. That I could never write. I could never write that. Or when I flub and go, man, I'm so I need something to drink. I'm so, what's the word? Liquid thirsty, and everybody go, or liquid hungry, and everybody went, you mean thirsty? Yeah, that's the word. I got it. Cool. Got it. I'm okay with that. I would never write down I'm liquid thirsty in a million years.
I might use that because that's
Or
funny.
liquid hungry is what I actually said. I would never write down in a million years. Today, Amanda was sitting down, ready to start her podcast, when all of a sudden she was liquid hungry. No.
It was far
Liquid
more
hungry.
worse.
See?
It was
Liquid hungry.
That's fantastic.
It's just one of those things. I have had so many people live stream when I play video games, and this word comes out of my mouth, and I don't even know what I said, and everybody's just like, "I'm sorry, what did you say?" I'll have to go back and check it. Do I? No. I could make shirts of all the. If somebody went back and watched all my past streams that I've done between YouTube and Twitch, it would look like a concert tour shirt on the back if they put it on the back of a shirt of all the goofy, dumbass words I have come up with in my entire career.
Quote and date and quote and date and quote and date all across it actually rolls down. It's like a long, like a the back goes super long so you can fit them all on there like a cape.
It's got the nice like tuxedo tail, so one goes this way, one goes that way.
Yep, that's it. And then you can pull that up, and then there's.
It's reversible. Look, there's more.
But wait, there's more.
But no, so first I want to say congratulations, because yes, it is already backed, and you're working on your stretch goals and things like that, which is absolutely fantastic. With 8 days left to go, that's really cool. I'm very happy for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course, if anybody's going to get this Kickstarter, you have to get it for zombie penguins. I mean, that's just the end question there. I mean, I'm sorry, of all the things that you had on that list, other than, we went into a Pokemon tangent, but that's because we went Pokemon instead. It's the zombie penguins. As someone who's worked with animals and worked at a zoo and know what penguins are really like, that terrifies the snot out of me.
I'm gonna have to mail you something. You have to send me. I have zombie penguin posters. Mikey Babinski did because nobody ever wanted to draw a full comic of it, because apparently drawing penguins are hard, or people are just like But he did this really cool pinup I commissioned for it, and I made posters because I was trying to promote the project. And these posters are really cool, but they're really terrifying. And I had them for so long, and I sell them for $3 because I tried to move them. Nobody buys them. Everyone's like, "This is awesome. How much?" And I'm like, $3. Because I just I don't know. And I'm like, okay, come on, people. So I give them away now because I just have a stack of them. Yeah, $3 exactly, right? And it's for I think it's a weird size. It's like 12 by 15 or 12. So, but it's a good size, and it's a glossy thing. I will mail you one if you'd like.
Oh, that would be fantastic. I would love to have it. I will put it in the office.
Okay, I will definitely mail you one.
Just gotta find wall space.
I have that problem as well.
I'll put it somewhere in the office. I just don't know where. I mean, when I'm to the point that I'm hanging shirts off of my curtain rods, yeah.
I feel it. I do the same thing. This room isn't, well, what you can see of this room isn't so bad.
That room looks normal compared to what you're looking at mine.
Yeah, see, this is the one normal room, more or less. And actually, you're just because you're not seeing this side, which has all that, like my Alex Ross Guardians of the Galaxy poster, my Justice League cartoon poster. I could never find a poster for that, and somebody on Facebook for sale sold one for $5. I'm like, yes.
Yoink.
Yep, yoink.
Yeah. That it's so adorbs, because I talk to people and I get to see where they do their stuff, and a lot of them sometimes have some stuff in there, or it's their creative studio, and or they'll be walking around with their phone, and I get to see their lovely normal looking house. This is what my entire house looks like. The best way to explain it is, you've seen the 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah,
that is my house. That is my life story, except for I'm not a virgin. Everything else is pretty accurate. Are there toys in the bathroom? Yes. Are there action figures in the kitchen? Yes. Are there action figures hanging from the ceiling in both the office, the living room, and the bedroom? Yes.
There was a conversation we had recently where I said, I need to ask a guy at work if I can get some fishing line. And my wife was like, why do you need fishing line? And I go, well, I said, I want to put this Spider-Man figure on the wall, but I want to make it look, I was like, so I just need a little bit, and I'm just going to tie it around his wrist and, and then we'll put like a thumbtack in the wall. And yeah, my cousin, Al, that's what he did, is he was like exactly like this. He
just like that?
Yeah, where like the whole house was everywhere. So he passed away about 2 years ago.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. It was kind of a freak thing. He was 48 years old. He left me his entire 40 years of comic collecting. He left me all of his comics. And over the past 2 years, there's been several times where I have been broke. And I don't mean poor. I mean just broke, like I don't have fun money, right? But I have more comics than I could ever read, thanks to him leaving them to me. And, I would, in a heartbeat, trade all of them back, or give them all away to have them back. But I've got to read so many comics that I would have never tried otherwise, because he was a big Marvel and DC guy. That was his stuff. He liked Marvel and DC and then horror comics. And so I read the Exiles. I would have never picked up the Exiles, but then I read it all and I loved it. There's been I hadn't read much Green Lantern, and here's like pretty much every Green Lantern thing from until 2000. And it's cool because I got to expand my knowledge, but it also sometimes is weird because I'll read something and I'll be like, oh, he's the guy that I want to go talk to it about, but he's not here. It's like, and
we can have a seance, see if that works.
It's funny because he very much was a believer in ghosts and everything too. So like he probably would be down with it. I actually like asked his brother, I'm like, do you think he's tried to like contact us, or is there, because like he would, like if he has the ability to, he definitely would, because so like he ended up being in hospice in a coma for about 2 weeks before he died. So on his deathbed, so like this might sound weird to people. If you've never experienced someone in hospice, it's weird. But he was in a coma and he was unresponsive besides having seizures. And sorry to get really fucking depressing here. But I would talk to him. So I was up there as much as I could be. And his brother's now wife were there all the time. But I used to just talk to him. So like I would go up and I'd be like, tell his brother like, hey, get out of here for a while, go get something to eat or whatever, and I'll sit. And so I would just never talk to him about just whatever, like my favorite memories with him. But I promised him while he was laying there, his favorite character is Shazam, of all time is Shazam. I promised him that someday that I would write Shazam, and I would write Shazam for him. And I'm either gonna write Shazam for him or I'm gonna die. There's no in between. There's never, I if I could choose my career, I'd like to have my career where I just got to write my own stuff and maybe do a few things for like licensed properties and characters I wouldn't own. But the number one on my list is to write Shazam and to write it for him. And I would probably fit in a character named Al in some way, just because, so that's like one of I have a creative bucket list, and like on there is write Shazam for Al. Yeah. And
it should happen. Hey, DC, Make-A-Wish Foundation for us old creator people.
I think it will. I mean, I don't know in what capacity or whatever, but like, I mean, like I have a story coming out through Top Cow in October, and I'm like, so yeah, I can check Image off my list in October. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, they're doing an anthology. So they put out this comic called Stairway a couple years ago, and now they're doing I don't know if it's called Stairway Volume 2. I believe it's just called Stairway Anthology. And I have a 7-page story in there. That's like an open-ended one that I'm really excited about. So they haven't put the official solicit. It's on pre-order on Amazon, but there's no official solicit yet. So my name isn't attached to it, but I did write a story for it. and so I'm super excited for that. And another cool thing that I get to do is there's this publisher called Red Cabin Media or Red Cabin Comics, which they're kind of newer. They haven't really done. Actually, I think this will be their first thing, but they're doing it's Tales from the Quarantine, and they're all one-page stories of different people with. And so I worked as a butcher. I do work as a butcher at a meat market in a grocery store, and I worked during all this. And so my one-page story is about what I saw, and it's going to be drawn by my comic book dad, Phil Hester, which is cool because one of the things on my bucket list is to work with him. So that I don't know when it's coming out yet because they haven't announced it yet, but they did reveal the logo this week for like a Comic-Con thing, and Chip Kidd did the logo. And if you're not familiar with Chip Kidd, he did the logo for Jurassic Park and a bunch of other big logos that you would know. So when I saw that, I'm like, well, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, just a bit. That is awesome. And yeah, Phil is absolutely amazing. I have a lot of his Green Arrow comics.
That man is one of the best.
My friend, and come do my podcast.
You know what? I will give you his email because he would. He is like, regardless of comics aside, he's one of the best people that I know.
You just warn him that I'm not going to be that typical, hey, who are you? What are you doing? Okay, get off my show. I'm going to be like, oh, so you're interested in what? Cool, let's talk about this.
Like pre-COVID, about once a month, I would get to go on. So he writes and draws comics. On his days that he would draw, if my day off fell on that day, he's about an hour and a half from here. I would go and hang out in his studio all day while he drew, and we would just BS, and I would ask him advice, and he would tell me stories. And like, I have this obsession with trying to know everything I can about comics and manga and the related stuff. So every time that I talk to him, I learn something like that I didn't know. Or if I know a little bit about it and not enough, I can ask him, and he can fill me in because he's been working for 30 years as a professional. I mean, he's working for, he worked at Caliber and like all these public, in Malibu and all that stuff. He's worked for every major publisher.
Let's see. I know he's worked with DC. He worked on Green Arrow. He created Mia, who becomes Speedy in the series, and he also did Automatopoeia.
Yep.
And didn't he create those with like Kevin Smith or something like that when they were working on the comic together? I know he's worked for Dynamite Entertainment. He did with Black Terror. He's also done Wonder Woman with DC. I mean, yeah, he's got a lot of stuff underneath his name. I know he's been attached to Nightwing. I have these. He has the Godzilla King of the Monsters under his belt. And yes, those are mine. I own every last damn one of them.
I have a page from it. I have a 2-page spread that I bought from him of that.
Now, if he could just make me a Gamera, the true leader of the Kaiju comic, I'd be really happy. I know you Godzilla fans love your Godzilla, but you're all wrong. It's Gamera.
So he also, I was talking to him and I'm like, he's like the Forrest Gump of comics, I say, where he's touched everybody. And so like right now he's drawing Family Tree at Image for Jeff Lemire. So when he started at DC, he was drawing Swamp Thing that was co-written by Mark Miller and Grant Morrison. He drew Ant-Man for Robert Kirkman. He also wrote I think it's Guardians of the Globe, which was the Invincible spinoff. He wrote it, and Todd Knock drew it. And like at Dynamite, he wrote the Bionic Man. He wrote Thunder Agents for IDW.
Okay, just to give you guys he's done some out of the things there, like Teddy and the Yeti, which was funny. But he did Ultimate Marvel Team Up. I know he's done Nightwing. I know he's done Namor. I know he's done Green Arrow. I know he's done Swamp Thing. He even did Clerks: The Lost Scene.
Yep.
Like, say what you want, but working, especially with someone like Jesse, who is the owner-operator of Gem City, and having me become his high-profile guest liaison and having to study these things, like, I knew the work, I just didn't know the man behind the work.
Yep.
Now I know, and now I can add names to some of the work. And it's really cool. It's still not the same as like knowing somebody and being like, well, I know him like this, but it's still kind of, it is nice to be able to put a name with the works, especially when I'm like, oh, I have that comic. Oh, I have that one too. Oh, I have that too.
I call him my comic book dad because his two kids, I am in between them in age. One is a year older than me and one is a year younger than me, but they don't do comics at all. They both do their own stuff. His son is a great scientist. I can't remember what his daughter does, but like they don't do comics. So I call him my comics dad because my dad doesn't do comics, but I do, and so it's weird, weird kind of contrast. And like we went and saw Endgame together. And it was funny because I was giving him crap that he made me. I'm like, you're gonna make me buy my own ticket. I'm like, you have an on-screen credit for Ant-Man, and you're not gonna pay for my ticket. And there's my wife.
Hi, wife.
Right away. But I was like, you're gonna make me pay for my ticket. And like the thing too is like in Suicide Squad, he co-created El Diablo as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like just.
Oh yeah. The man is absolutely fantastic. I'm not telling you that you have to do it. I mean, obviously, I would love to have him on the show. Hell, I'd love to have him at my comic book shows if we ever get those back.
That's the thing. Right.
But no, that's funny. Wait, you're gonna make me pay for my? You're part of this. No, I want him free. and it's funny because I'm trying to picture Phil in the thing buying a ticket that he has credit. The man has credit on this. Just let him in, yo. No.
It's funny because like we didn't see it until like 2.5 months after it'd been out, and I go, "Do you want to hang out on Friday?" And he's like, "I do, but I haven't got to see Endgame yet." And I'm like, "Me either." He goes, "Okay, let's go see Endgame," and we went to a matinee at 10 a.m. on a Friday. And there's 4 other people in the theater besides us, and we watch it.
And here's the sad part, though, is I would have recognized him if I was one of those other 4 people, and I'd be like, "Can I say that to you?"
So it was
your interpretation of this movie.
So yeah, no, it was fun. It was a good memory, and then it was like, and it was there's a big mall in the town there, so then we ended up going to the mall and get food afterwards, and then leave, and it was fun. I mean. Yeah, I mean that movie is a great experience, anyways. Like especially,
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm one of those people who go, Endgame's okay.
Well, the reason I said it was a cool experience is because like this is gonna sound dumb. The thing that I got super excited was when Valkyrie is riding her flying horse.
Okay, so
I saw that and I'm like,
I am totally down with everybody talking about the fact that, yeah, that end scene when Cap's like, Avengers assemble, and everybody's like, that's epic. The whole time traveling thing, why do you got, no.
Yeah, time travel, it's messy.
And you kind of mucked it up because you're like, oh, well, we have to have these special suits, and, Gamora's sister, why can't I remember her
Nebula,
name?
yeah.
Nebula. It had to wear the suit at first, but then she didn't have to wear the suit, and then this was huh?
Though we did get a really good line of when Ant-Man calls it a time heist. That's still funny.
It's still funny. It's like I didn't need all that, And I mean, like, don't get me wrong. Every movie has its downfalls. I mean, Black Panther, great movie. Who the hell did that crappy ass CGI at the end? Smack the shit out of them. That looked awful. Just awful. Wonder Woman, great freaking movie. What the hell is with this ending?
Yeah, there's the choreographing on the fight scenes and stuff in Wonder Woman. So like.
And again, I think Wonder Woman was a great, I liked, not great, but a good movie. I do think that it got overhyped because, again, we hadn't had a female main lead character in a movie for a really long time since the fantastical Halle Berry.
Oh, yeah. Well.
Halle Berry, I love you, but the fact that you went to the Razzie Awards, even that movie was a piece of shit. That movie was just a complete fucking piece of shit. It just is. Get over it. And so I think it got hyped up more for the fact that, oh, it's starring a female and it's being directed by a female and da 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 da. Okay, that's great. How is it as a movie? It's cool. It's good. It's not fantastic. What did you do there? Really? Really? Are you kidding me? Screw that. I'm hoping 84 is going to be better.
I mean, when it got pushed back, I mean, before pre-COVID, when it got pushed back anyways, I was like, that's usually not a good sign. I mean, Men in Black 3 is your perfect example of that.
I just don't understand what DC's problem is. They already have the perfect movies. They already have the perfect layouts for great live-action movies. All right, here's the Wonder Woman animated series, or animated DVD movie.
All their animated movies are great. I mean,
let's face it, the only one that really wasn't any good, and I'm sorry, was The Killing Joke. And
yes,
here's why.
I agree.
Here's why. The Killing Joke is a fantastic book, and if you've never read it, you really need to. The problem with the animated thing of The Killing Joke is, A, that whole Batgirl's crap at the beginning.
Yeah, them having
her blinking Batman destroys everything.
For no reason. It didn't.
Barbara's with Dick. Frack off.
Yeah, when I was watching it for the first time and I saw that, I'm like, what? And then, yeah.
And none of it has anything to do with the story.
It doesn't add anything. It doesn't.
It didn't add anything. And I get, they're like, oh, well, we don't want her to look like the female. Okay, that's great, but you did it wrongly anyway.
Yeah.
Second, you have this opportunity to take one of the greatest stories ever put on paper. And all you did was literally take it panel for flipping panel. You didn't add anything. You didn't really add any fluid movements. The best thing in any of it is actually when the Joker does his song and dance, and you actually got some movement and some, creativity to it. Other than that, it was like reading the comic. Why?
I don't think I've met anyone that enjoyed that movie. I haven't really met anyone that was like, I really liked that. It's always kind of the same reaction. They're like, yeah, I was really excited for it, and then I saw it. That's the
right. Well, see, and a lot of people are really just focusing on the Batgirl thing. I want to bring attention to, it's not just that. It's you took one of the greatest stories and you literally made it panel for panel, and here you have the opportunity to really flow through the panels with the animation and make it really come to life, and you really didn't. You really didn't make it come to life. You made it look more like when you read those comic books where like the panel kind of moves a little bit. That's all they really did. You had this great opportunity and you dropped it. You dropped it hard. I was going in going, oh, I'm going to get to see these really cool action sequences that I've always seen in my mind, to see what they kind of look like. And you just did a recreation of all the panels, so my imagination still had to go with what I had already envisioned. You suck.
No, but other than that, they're animated movies. I really enjoy them.
Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Under the Red Hood.
Justice League New Frontier.
I didn't like was it War was the one that they did with Darkseid?
Or Apocalypse War.
So, yeah, that one I didn't really care for.
Yeah, because everyone was getting their neck.
It was funny watching Green Lantern and Batman.
Yeah, but everybody just getting horrifically murdered. It was too much. It was. Yeah, I just watched that like 2 weeks ago with a friend, and I'm like, I think you'll dig this, because he got into playing Injustice, and then we watched the movie, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't know that it was going to be like this. And then the ending to the movie with the Flash, I'm like, come on, so nothing matters. Yeah,
that one. But yes, for the most part, especially like the son of especially when they're focusing on the Batman family. The Bat family is fantastic. Even with the changes that they make, it still honors what they did. What's the one where it's actually not based off of anything that they did with Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman?
I don't know.
Where Wonder Woman was raised on Apocalypse. Superman was raised by Neil Patel Zod. He's Zod's son, and Batman is actually Man-Bat. He's a vampire.
Remember what that's called. I know what you're talking about now, but I don't remember what it's called. You're like detectiving it.
Uh-huh.
I'll find out soon.
Of course I am. Gods and Monsters.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, where Kirk Langstrom is the one who becomes Batman, and he's a vampire, and that's like so awesome.
The Justice League Dark animated ones are good too. The way that they do Constantine is perfect.
I love Constantine.
Me too. Such an underused, underrated character, I think.
And don't get me wrong, I actually enjoyed the television series. My only problem with the television series is they put the magic forefront and his conning second, where in the comic it's reverse. Him being a con artist is forefront and the magic is second. And the best example I can give is when he tricks the devil into drinking holy water.
I forgot about that.
Or when he sells his soul to the 3 lords of the underworld, and when he dies, they all fight over it. Just let him live! I'm done! No! He's brilliant.
He's such a weird character because, like, he's kind of a POS, but you love him. That's the reason that you love. Like, he's kind of a sleazy guy, but he's doing it for all the right reasons, whether he wants to or not, and that's what makes him so interesting, I think.
Oh, he's absolutely fantastic. He's such a great character. But holy crap, why'd you let me talk for an hour and a half?
It's too easy. We were talking a half hour before this started too, is the funny thing.
I know. And like I said, that, that's one of the things that I love, especially, like I said, when the first time you were on and we instantly clicked and you told me how much you love the laid back couch mentality that we have here. And, yeah, when I have people on who's been on the show before, yeah, it goes a little longer than normally, but that's because we just have so much fun and we just have a conversation. We just talk like we haven't seen each other in forever, which we haven't seen each other in forever.
Oh, you're right.
But definitely go check out his Kickstarter. Let me show you the link right here. It is called Odds and Ends. It's on Kickstarter. Just type in Odds and Ends. You're definitely going to find it. Get it for the zombie penguins. The zombie penguins. Sorry, a zombie penguin now needs to be your logo.
You're obsessed now. I've got you.
Yes, you had me at zombie penguins. And then, of course, where else can they find you, Austin?
My website, which is hamblincomics.com. That's got links to all my social media, my Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. And then I also have a likable author page on Facebook that I update multiple times daily. I'm a pretty easy guy to get a hold of. So yeah, if you go to my website, it's got like all of my info. If you care to see links to buy my books, a blog, and then how to find me. And you can, I think, even contact me right through the website. So if anyone sees this interview and is interested in reading any of my stuff, just mention to me, send me a message on any of my platforms. Say that you heard me on Amanda Gilliam Presents, and I will send you 50 pages of PDF comics that I've written for free.
And this is the picture that you're looking for with the little Austin action figure when you're looking for it over on Kickstarter. Make sure you check it out. And of course, if you like what we do here at AGP, make sure that you either follow or subscribe right here on Twitch. Remember, Twitch subscribers get to watch the stuff ad-free. You get emotes and you get badges. Of course, we also have our YouTube account where, of course, ring the bell for notifications, give a little thumbs up, subscribe, because that's the best way to make sure that you get to continue watching this content, because YouTube's not the best at making sure you get that information. Plus, it helps the channel so we continue making great content like this. And of course, check us out on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. On that note, thank you everybody for joining us. Cassie, I think you broke him a couple of times, so I appreciate that.
Yeah,
and we'll see, and we will definitely see you all on the next one. Bye.